This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Yeah, it's true. The iPad mini was announced 9 years ago in 2012 when its major competitor was the Nexus 7, and their design has stuck around with us for just as long. Despite being a pretty popular tablet at its creation, Apple has never revisited changing the design of the iPad mini. Until now, because the iPad mini 6, which should be coming out this fall, is supposed to have a radical redesign, and this beloved tablet is finally getting the attention it deserves, and it could be the ultimate iPad for a few reasons, so let's talk about it. First of all, let's talk about the design, because honestly, this is something that I have wanted of a new iPad mini ever since I saw the original 2018 iPad Pro with its major reduction in bezel size and increase in screen size. I always thought that Apple should apply this same design philosophy to the iPad mini. However, when Apple released the iPad mini 5 in 2019, I honestly thought they would never give us the complete iPad mini redesign that we deserved, and I even said in my review of the iPad mini 5 that this may be the last iPad mini model that Apple ever sells, and thankfully, it looks like past Greg was totally and completely wrong. So yes, the iPad mini 6 is supposed to be getting that same design treatment as the iPad Pro. More specifically, we should expect it to look more like the recent iPad Air 4, and it will have squared off sides and a reduced bezel around the entirety of the display, with the removal of the big forehead and bottom chin area. This should give the iPad mini a bigger display than the 7.9-inch display it currently has, with most rumors and sources estimating the display size will be around 8.4 inches, while still having around the same size and weight as the iPad mini 5. Now, despite one report from Digitime saying that the iPad mini would have a mini LED display, I think that claim is absolutely ridiculous. And I can't see Apple putting the mini LED display on the iPad mini when they didn't do it to the more expensive 11-inch iPad Pro. It wouldn't make any sense marketing wise, and it wouldn't be a feature I would expect on this iPad mini given its expected price range and its place in the lineup, at least for this year. So the iPad mini 6 display will probably have the same LCD display technology that is found on the iPad Air, with 500 nits of max brightness. Now, because of the display extending closer to the borders, that again means the removal of the chin area where Apple would have kept the home button. So with that gone, that means that we should also expect that Apple will be moving the Touch ID sensor into the power button. If you're questioning why Apple would use Touch ID in the power button instead of just putting Face ID on the iPad mini, well, it's because Apple has already implemented that Touch ID sensor onto the iPad Air, and again, I would expect this iPad mini 6 feature set to basically closely mimic all of the iPad Air features. So Touch ID on the power button, no Face ID. It's why I also believe we will see possibly the same selection of colors with this iPad mini that the iPad Air offers, so hopefully a wide range of colors to choose from. And speaking of copying things from the iPad Air, this mini won't just have a beautiful new design, it will also carry over some features that we love from newer iPads, including ditching the Lightning port in favor of the USB-C port, which Apple has been slowly transitioning most of their iPad lineup to. And because the iPad mini 6 will have a USB-C port, we should expect not only faster data transfer rates, compatibility with existing iPad Air and iPad Pro chargers and other accessories, and some better USB-C centric features like connecting to external monitors. Using an iPad mini setup with an external monitor, actually, maybe that'd be kind of cool. But because this iPad mini 6 is getting a USB-C port, it is widely believed that the iPad mini 6 will also support the second generation Apple Pencil, or possibly even a smaller, revised version of the Apple Pencil that would better fit the smaller iPad mini body. Having that Apple Pencil attachment will be great for always having the Apple Pencil on hand, and honestly, the more I think about that form factor redesign, the more excited I get for using this iPad mini as like a small little digital notebook that I can always have with me to just jot down notes. And of course, that smaller form factor will be ideal for reading books and reading through websites, especially beautifully crafted websites like you can make with Squarespace. Because we all want our websites to look great, and Squarespace is all about great design. With its huge selection of custom, beautifully crafted templates for you to choose from, it's the easiest place to get your website up and running and requires absolutely zero experience. So it's easy to start your own website, portfolio, resume, blog, and so much more in just a few hours with playing with Squarespace's easy-to-use website builder. And each website is automatically optimized to make sure that your online presence looks beautiful on any device, even on smaller displays like a phone or, hey, maybe even an iPad mini. Squarespace also has the tools and services you need to grow and scale your website because Squarespace offers a diverse range of plans at affordable pricing for hosting your website with advanced features like your own professional email with G Suite, fully integrated e-commerce with payment methods for Stripe, PayPal, and yes, even Apple Pay, as well as inventory, point of sale, support for gift card, donations, and so much more. So stop waiting, start building, or upgrade your existing website today and use my code GregsGadgets for 14 days to try it out for yourself completely free. And when you're ready to purchase, you can get yourself a 10% off discount code on your first purchase. And thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. All right. Now, there are a few things we aren't exactly sure of with the iPad mini 6 at this point. One of those being what chip Apple will decide to put into this device. I thought Apple would initially be putting the A14 chip inside of the iPad mini, considering we expect it to closely follow the design language of the iPad Air. I thought that would make sense. However, a 9to5Mac report from July 20th says that their sources are saying that Apple plans to put an A15 chip into the iPad mini. That would be the same chip as the upcoming iPhone 13. This wouldn't be too out of the realm of possibility either, given the fact that we are pretty much expecting this iPad mini to be announced either at Apple's September event or shortly afterwards at a second fall event. So if Apple wants to future-proof this device and let it sit around before they have to update it again, like they have done with so many of the iPad mini models over the years, it makes sense for them to just put the A15 chip into it to ensure longer shelf life. So even though I initially thought the A14 chip, the A15 chip wouldn't exactly surprise me. Another thing I wasn't sure of was if Apple would put a smart connector on the back of this iPad mini. I mean, yes, you could see some accessories maybe being used for the smart connector. However, the main use case for Apple's connector on the back was Apple's lineup of keyboard accessories. And the iPad mini 6 is going to be a pretty small device for a keyboard case. So if Apple actually decides to make a first-party keyboard case for the Mini, it is going to be one of the smallest and possibly most cramped keyboards that Apple has ever shipped. And I am a student of history, so going back and looking at Apple's statements over the years on how they feel about smaller keyboards, traditionally, they have never been a fan of small compromised keyboards with a lack of typing space. So I would say it seems very unlikely to me that they would make their own first-party keyboard case for this iPad mini. However, maybe they will, or maybe more likely if they are keeping the smart connector, I think they'll have a partnership with a third party like Logitech to make a keyboard case for it, so they kind of don't have to design one. And I guess maybe we should expect this connector because that same 9to5Mac report, which claims Apple will put an A15 chip into this iPad mini, is also claiming that it's going to have the smart connector on the back. So it's going to be really interesting to see if there are actually keyboard accessories ready for this iPad mini when it launches. As for when you'll be able to get that iPad mini 6, well, hopefully it's going to be soon, because a recent report from Mark Gurman just the other day says we should still expect a release for the iPad mini 6 this fall, and I think we honestly won't have to wait too much longer, because I think based on Apple's release schedule, there is a very good chance we can see this device next month at Apple's September event. As for pricing, well, rumors haven't said too much here, but I think we're all smart enough to assume a few things based on Apple's current lineup. Namely the price of the iPad Air, which sits in at $599. Now, previously, the iPad Air 3 was priced in at $499. However, after it went that iPad Pro style-like redesign, Apple raised the price to $599. So they raised it by $100. So the iPad mini 5 is currently starting at $399 for the base model. And I guess I would expect the same thing to happen to this redesigned iPad mini as that redesigned iPad Air. So I'd expect this iPad mini 6 to get a price increase of $100, bumping the starting price up to $499, which is kind of crazy because $499 was the price of the original iPad, and now the iPad mini is probably going to start at that price. You'll probably get 64 gigabytes of storage for that price point, and then add another $150 to bump up to that 256 gigabyte storage option. But so far, that is everything we know and what I expect to see announced for the newly redesigned iPad mini 6. And as a fan of the iPad mini form factor, I cannot wait to see this thing and get my hands on one. But let me know in the comments below, are you excited for an iPad mini 6 redesign? Do you plan on purchasing one? And what features are you most excited for? Also, if you like this video, be sure to leave me a like. If you want to see more from the channel, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.